Ching Cafe. My name is Belinda Dovston, and it is wonderful that you are here with me for our I Ching monthly forecast for December 2025, the last month of 2025. Can you believe it? We are here. That the year went whoosh. Okay, so I hope that you've maximized the year. Somehow I feel that for all of us, we were dragged through what we needed to overcome, whether we liked it or not. A very intense year. And I'm looking forward in this episode to getting into how we can maximize this last month. Before we do that, we always cast our minds back. November 2025 was very intense. I found it very challenging because we had Hexagram 51, shock, shake up, okay, shaking up the lightning bolts, and that challenging, changing line in the first half of the month, being stuck in the bog, stuck, and trying to figure out how to get out of it, how to let the impetus of change pull us forward. Yes, working with Hexagram 51 and Hexagram 24 return, the end of the month towards the second half of November, working with a turning point, the energy turning over, returning back to something, getting back to what's important, reconnecting to the past, the bear emerging out of the cave after winter, things starting to ease. Not yet here, but starting to ease up as we start moving forward. Okay, so if anything came up for you in working with that shock, shake up, and that energy around the return, the bear emerging, please do share a comment. We all learn through your wonderful comments you leave for us. Okay, December. We're here at the end of the year. This is the last month. It's a month that often is short because there's festivities and leave and all kinds of things happening at the end of the year. But you know, the flow of change, our life, our learning that we need to do is never done, right? Till the last day. There is no public holiday, bank holiday for our personal stuff, our karmic residue. Okay, so let's get into what this month is bringing to our attention. Where are we working? Where is the light and the information and the growth needed? And let's get into it. So our first hexagram for December is one we haven't had in a while, actually. It's hexagram 8, holding together, also known as grouping and union. Okay, if we look at the structure of the hexagram, we have water on the top, earth on the bottom. And the visual this creates is all the rivers, right, flowing across the earth and coalescing, right, coming together in a central place. The image is like movies you might have seen. Maybe The Lion King pops to mind, I'm not sure why, but of all these tribes and all these different groups emerging at the rock, for the big community debate, once a year or once every festival, all these different tribes of a community coming together to discuss and to, pull our resources and our minds and unite as a group, a bigger group. That is this idea, right? All the tribes coming to the rock. And so we work with this idea of union, of holding together, being all about really digging into our groupings and our relationships with those people, those organizations that we group ourselves with, our time, our energy, our care and love. So this month, it's a strange thing. How does this work? Okay, because groupings can be family, although there is a hexagram about family, can be your family, your friends, your networks, your clubs, your, whatever it is, the things that you group yourself with, that you identify with, your people. And you might find in life, some people go through a whole of their lives looking for their tribe, right, and never find it. And others find it in weird and wonderful ways. So where are your people? Where's your tribe? Do you feel that you are currently with a group that you belong with, that you connect with, that you have a shared vision, and that everyone pulls their weight to do the work to make it happen? Okay, so groups are always a challenging thing because we now have to move our energy away from our individual consciousness. We still have to have our individual needs met because they should always be met in a group. But we also have the collective, we have the group consciousness that we have to pay attention to. We have to make sure that both needs are met, not only the group at the expense of individuals and not individuals at the expense of the group, but both. That's what makes it really challenging. And so what we do is we think about who are these tribes, right? Who are these people that we are connected with, these organizations? Are they delivering? Are those members of that group delivering what they should? And am I, as a member of that group, delivering what I should deliver? Am I honoring the commitment I have made? This is not about looking out and saying the people who have not honored their commitments, all right? It's about my honoring of my commitment to the group. So we will be challenged this month in thinking differently, in growing up in some aspect of how we engage with our group, all right? Potentially recognizing where our group is no longer our group. Okay, what we thought were our people, our tribe, there's something else that's waiting for us that we need to work towards, right? So how do we make choices, right? And where do we let go of groups that are no longer ours? Not to discard people and groups and commitments when they're no longer, temporarily useful. You know what I mean? We're talking about really understanding the commitments we've made. And are we honoring our commitments? And are the groups working for us? Okay, what are these groupings, these tribes that I'm investing my time in? We think about how when we are collaborating and working in a unified, harmonious process, okay, with others, that strong leadership is required. Okay. And so this hexagram, the leader of the line is line 5. It's the leader, leadership, king position. Being the king and taking leadership and doing what you're supposed to do, leading the group, is an important part of this hexagram. So sometimes leadership can be seen in a hexagram like hexagram 7, the army, where it's about taking the power, right, and being the general and leading the people and being organized to deal with something exceptional. This is about being the leader in the group, okay? Even if you aren't the leader, is demonstrating leadership in whatever you need to do. So for me, whenever this hexagram comes up, there's an undertone of stepping into your power as a leader and the challenges that you might face in resisting that, or when you have the power, what do you do with the power? Okay, so we work with people. This is a people-centric hexagram this month. It's all about how we group, how we engage, how we commit, how we show up, and how we create accountability for others to do the same. Okay. It brings with lots of stuff happening, lots of things to consider, lots of activity, lots of things going on. Okay, this is not a quiet hexagram, but it means binding together. Okay, we're only as strong as our weakest link. This is a great way of thinking about holding together in union. When we don't have a shared vision, when we are not on the same page, when we're all after our own individual interests, okay, the group cannot be strong. And what we're wanting to do is to build the strength of the group, the harmony of the group, the power of the union without harming the individual's rights or needs. Right? Not just about the group, it's about both. So we have one changing line in the 6th position, right at the top. And because we have one line, you could see in a way that this breaks up the month into 2 parts. The first part is the maturing of this changing line up to around about the 15th of December. And then from there, we start moving towards our second hexagram more fully. So our changing line in the 6th position is a tough one. Okay, it says, without a head, there is no union. Okay. This line talks about missing the moment or missing the beat from a couple of different ways. It might be about us missing the beat. It might be about someone else missing the beat. Your life will highlight that. One way of looking at it, when you're trying to form a union, you're trying to bond with a group of people or with an entity or with a new partner or with whatever it might be, you're trying to form a bond and you kind of are too late into the game because there's already stuff happening, like the train has left the station and now you're trying to bond because you've procrastinated or you've left it too late, or now you're trying to build that bond and the moment has passed. So that might be one way where we have to actually accept that this union we're trying to form can't form because the moment has passed. Okay, we're too late. Okay, or the other party is too late. We gave them an opportunity to say yes. We reminded them. And then when it comes to it, when they finally say, yes, 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 I want to be part of this thing, I want to engage, be part of the group, well, it's too late. It's gone. Sorry. Okay. So that might be one way you experience this. The other way might be that the person's head is not in the game. So like without someone's head, like their thought process and the head being a symbol of like the center of a choice to engage and to bond. Okay. If your head's not in the game, you don't have a union. And so this might refer to either you're trying to bind yourself with an entity or a person or group, right, where their head is just not in it, right? So they haven't committed. They haven't taken the step to show that they are committed. And you're trying to form this bond and trying to bring them into your tribe, right, and trying to engage. And actually, if they are not putting their commitment forward, right, putting their foot forward, having taken the first step, having indicated their commitment in some tangible way that shows their head is in the game, this is a union we should not be pushing. Okay, another facet. So, lastly on this changing line, let's reverse it to ourselves, right? Where are we functionally trying to form a connection, a bond, but our head is not in it, right? We are not committed. We haven't taken the first step. Okay, maybe we are playing things along until something better comes along, whatever that might be. Where are we not quite in the game? Where's our head not in it? And therefore, this union is better off being released because it has nowhere to go. So it's going to direct our attention to somewhere where something is trying to bind and connect and do and complete and plug in into the group, into the network, into the event, into the plan, into whatever it is that is being plugged together. Our attention is being drawn to where it's a very difficult thing to get this to work because the head is not in the game. The step of commitment hasn't been made. They haven't taken the first step that's required to say yes. Okay, there's something here that's off, or we are off. We haven't put our head in the game. We haven't said yes in ourselves, in our own minds. And so this commitment, this group, this union will not work. And it's about accepting that, which can be difficult to do. Okay. That leads to a second hexagram, right? Because we have a changing line, we have a second relating outcome hexagram. I like the word victory hexagram, where we're moving towards. And our second hexagram is hexagram 20, contemplation, the tower, okay, shown in the structure, climbing to the top of this Arc de Triomphe, right? Being on the top, being able to look down, look across, look out, and see perspective, see things in a bigger way, see the connections between things. And this is a really interesting hexagram to get because, obviously we're all gunning for the end of the year. We're all hoping to have a little bit of a timeout and a bit of a break and a bit of a easing of things. And this is quite an interesting, nice hexagram, I think, to get as the second half of December, because what it points to is having the time and the space of just seeing how things are plugged together. What did we really achieve? What was the long implication of what we were working towards? What have we actually done with this year, right? Those types of contemplative, visionary things of where we see how the puzzle pieces are fitting together, where we elevate our mind out of the detail of being little mouse on the ground scurrying around, and we now become the eagle, right? And we look up and we look, not to hunt the mouse, to have this bigger bird's eye view, right, of the situation and seeing how it all fits together. And so the second half of December, and more fully towards the end of the year, will give us that opportunity, if we reach out for it, of seeing the bigger picture. Context, perspective, patterns, meaning, these are the types of things that we can tap into and work towards. And I'd really encourage you to reach out to this energy that's there. It's like this thing dangling in the air, this beautiful gift, right? And we can ignore it or we can draw on it. We can say, yes, I actually do want to have that perspective. I want to have the insight. I want to see things differently. Draw on that energy. It's just boing, sitting here for you. You can draw on it to have that beautiful vision to close off the year and to get perspective on everything that's been achieved, because usually when we do that kind of exercise, what we are amazed at how much has happened, how much progress there's been, how many victories were manifested, how many problems were overcome. Very seldom when we sit down and do that big picture thinking, that reflection, do we come up with nothing? Do we come up with nothing was achieved? It's when we're down in the ground as little mice and we can't see how all the things are fitting together, how the puzzle is fitting together, the picture that's emerging when all the pieces get put together. And so the time is now, in this month, towards the end, to tap into that energy and get that vision. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, a thumbs up, a like would be really fabulous. And of course, if you are new to the channel, it'd be great if you can subscribe, hit the bell, and hit the follow button on the podcast version if you're a podcast follower. And I look forward to connecting with you as we work through December's weekly forecasts. And I better get myself organized and get ready doing the 2026 overview. Can you believe it? I just cannot believe it. All right, have a fantastic month, and I'll see you soon.